In Progress by Lulu Delacre. Chapter 2, Selfie. El que quiere celeste, que le cueste. Picture day, Marla said to herself, standing in front of the bathroom mirror. She applied a little lip gloss, wanting to look good for picture day at school. Marla tilted her head this way and that to check out her new highlights. That's when she noticed it. The ring around the sides of her neck had darkened. It had spread toward the front, too. She cringed. She pulled her hair up and rubbed her neck with soap and water until it felt raw. But the ring remained. Frantic, she headed to the kitchen. Stepping over piles of stuff on the floor of the room she shared with Mama in their East LA apartment, she'd seen on TV that potatoes lighten the skin. She opened the fridge to find it almost empty, the last potato rotten. Marla sighed. It was that time of the month again. Mama made barely enough for the rent, so they depended on government help for food, and the money always came on the 10th. Today was September 9th. "What are you searching for?" asked Mama as she retrieved her insulin vial from the refrigerator door and filled a needle with fluid. "It's my ring," said Marla. "I mean my neck." Sometimes Marla struggled to say what she meant. "It's getting darker." Kevin, Marla's younger brother, overheard her from his bed in the living room. "Marla has a dirty neck! Marla has a dirty neck!" He started chanting gleefully. "Moron!" Marla screamed, lunging at her brother. She chased him around the apartment and out into the open hall until she got winded. She steadied herself against the banister of the outdoor stairs. Recovered, she walked back inside. "Don't pay attention to him," said Mama as she injected the sharp needle into her stomach with a jab. The familiar sight sent shivers through Marla. No matter how many times she watched her mother inject herself, Marla couldn't get used to it. She dreaded becoming like Mama, sick and tired all the time. Mama lived from insulin shot to insulin shot. 4 days a week, Mama would drag herself to the minimum wage job she had at the nearby cell phone repair center. Mama used to be an assistant manager at a moving company, but the job had required such long hours that she'd have to quit. Diabetes tired Mama. Still, Mama refused to go on disability. "You have to earn your living," she would say to Marla all the time. "Have breakfast, Marla," Mama called as Marla was getting ready to leave. Marla grabbed the last bag of potato chips and headed for the school bus stop at the corner of Tim and Eastern. As she saw the bus approach, Marla turned on her cell phone and swiveled its camera to look at herself on the screen as if it were a mirror. For her 13th birthday, a hairdresser friend of her mother's had highlighted her hair. Now Marla swept her hair over her chest. She didn't want her friends Keisha and Tina to notice the ring on her neck. Marla boarded the bus and found her friends in their usual seats. "Hey," Marla said, sliding into the seat in front of her friends. "Love your earrings, Keisha," she said. Marla liked being friendly. "And I like your highlights," responded Keisha. "Thanks," said Marla, running her fingers through her hair. "Hey, look over. Selfie." Marla snapped a photo of the three of them. She was always taking pictures. She looked at the picture. Neither of her friends had a neck ring. Marla frowned and put her phone away. She remembered her last visit to the doctor. She had gone into the examining room on her own. Mama had stayed behind to fill out some paperwork. Dr. Lee had examined her skin. The ring had been much fainter then. Still, the doctor had asked many questions. Did she get tired easily? What did she eat at home? Did she avoid sweet drinks? Did she choose healthy meals at school? Did she play sports? Marla had told Dr. Lee that Mama bought whatever was on sale at the Food for Less. Sports were not her thing, but she liked math and social studies. Dr. Lee had explained that the dark pigmentation around her neck was a sign of prediabetes. It meant that Marla was not processing sugars well. Marla remembered Dr. Lee's every word. "You have strong risk factors for type 2 diabetes. You need to make an effort to eat better and exercise. Otherwise, you'll become as ill as your mom." Marla's smile had vanished. All day at school, Marla looked forward to 7th period. She loved her social studies teacher. Ms. Garcia was young and pretty and funny, and she knew so much. She always called on Marla whenever Marla raised her hand. The period was almost over when Ms. Garcia asked if anyone had gone to the 234th birthday of the founding of the city of Los Angeles. Before anyone could answer, the bell rang and all the students stampeded out of the room. Marla felt sorry for Miss Garcia and stayed behind. How was it? Marla asked, picking up her backpack with one hand and pulling down her tunic with the other. You would have loved it, Marla, Ms. Garcia said. There was a procession of pedestrians and bicyclists that started at the Mission San Gabriel and ended at El Pueblo de Los Angeles. There were reenactments, readings, musical numbers, and food vendors. I even joined the cyclists in the procession, she added as she gathered her things. You biked all that way? Asked Marla, arching her eyebrows. It's not much of a ride, just 9 miles, said Ms. Garcia as she walked out of the classroom. Do you bike, Marla? No, yes, Marla answered. Last time I biked, I was real little. She looked sideways. I don't have a bike anymore. Maybe one day you can borrow a bike and join one of these events, said Ms. Garcia as she headed toward the parking lot. You'd like it. Marla thought that she wouldn't be able to cover 9 miles even if she owned a bike. She touched the back of her neck. Watching the teacher weaving gracefully in between the hordes of students running every which way, Marla wished she could be just like Ms. Garcia. The next day was September 10th, and Marla went with Kevin and Mama to the Food for Less in Huntington. It was time to get a month's worth of groceries. Marla always liked shopping for food. The huge warehouse had big aisles lined with items sold in large quantities. Bright lights shone on the food items, and bunches of balloons decorated the displays. I'm hungry, whined Kevin as soon as Mama leaned over her shopping cart to read the store's flyer. Ay, niño, complained Mama. Let me finish checking the sales. Mama always tried to stretch the money as much as she could. That often meant buying food that had a long shelf life. Just recently, Mama had taken a nutrition class, and she was intent on making better food choices. Mama examined her grocery list to see if anything on it was discounted. I'm so hungry, whimpered Kevin. Please. Mama gave up. Okay, pick something healthy that's not more than $1. Marla looked at her brother and rolled her eyes. The 10-year-old was in such pain. Was such a pain. After Kevin left, Mama sent Marla to the produce section to look for a couple of the cantaloupes on sale. She would soon follow, Mama told Marla. Spotting the cantaloupe bin, Marla noticed a big, muscular woman standing next to it, browsing through the melons. The woman was wearing a T-shirt from the event Ms. Garcia had been talking about. Curious, Marla thought of a way of making conversation. This one's ripe, yes? Marla asked, a cantaloupe in her hand. Let me help you, said the woman. She smelled Marla's melon. No, not yet. They should smell sweet. The woman tested another melon and handed it to Marla. This one's ready. Thank you, said Marla. Do you like to bike? She blurted out. I'm sorry, Marla giggled. That's so rude of me. I didn't mean to be nosy. I'm Marla. No worries, said the woman. I'm Emma. Emma told Marla all about the East Side Bike Club, which she was a member of. We're like a big family. Want to join? Thanks, said Marla, but I don't have a bike. Well, said Emma, one of our members has a bike shop and sometimes lets young people ride one of his rental bikes for free. Really? Marla asked. She waved Mama over as soon as Marla spotted her. Marla eagerly introduced Emma to Mama, wanting to talk about the club. But after a quick exchange, Mama excused herself to continue their shopping. As soon as they had left the produce aisle, Marla started thinking about how great it would be to ride a bike again. She'd fallen in love with biking the first time she rode without Abuelo's steadying hand, back when she was 5. Now, years later, to go on her own around Los Angeles would be really, really cool. Marla touched her neck. Maybe the ring would fade. Mama, can I join Emma's bike club? Marla squealed once they were far enough away from Emma. They ride on Tuesday evenings at 6:30, and they'd lend me a bike for free. Free! Marla, ¿estás loca? Asked Mama. What has gotten into you? You can't ride at night, and with strangers? But Dr. Lee said I needed exercise, exclaimed Marla the moment Kevin returned, with his mouth orange from eating a whole bag of cheese curls and carrying the open variety pack under his arm. Kevin, Mama scolded, I told you healthy and $1 or less. There's 20 packs for $11.95, said Kevin. Cheaper than last month's, and some are cheesy. Ay, niño, Mama nodded in defeat. I wanted to buy healthy things this time. Now we're stuck with getting the open pack. Never again, you hear me? Marla thumped Kevin on the head. He was grinning as he dropped the package in the cart. Then she placed her hand on Mamma's forearm. "Let me try the club, please," begged Marla. "I'm 13. "No, Marla," Mamma insisted. "No." "What?" fumed Marla, stopping in her tracks. "You want me to be just like you." Mamma turned to look at Marla, her gaze tired and sad. Marla glanced away, and for an instant she wished she could take back her words. But she said nothing. The family shopped for the rest of the items on Mamma's list in complete silence. Marla took a walk during her lunch break the following day. The school felt like a town with its own paths and paved areas between its many buildings. Marla wanted to ride a bike again. She believed that biking was the exercise for her. She remembered how Abuelo used to praise her biking skills. Maybe she could still convince Mama to let her join the club. After just one loop around the cafeteria building, Marla grew tired and sat on the bench by the vegetable garden. A little while later, Miss Garcia came out with an eighth grader to tend to the plants. "Hola, Marla," Miss Garcia greeted her. "You're all flushed. Are you okay?" "Yeah, it's just that I've been walking to get in better shape," said Marla, sweeping her hair to the front of her neck. "I want to join a bike club." Marla told Miss Garcia about the club's evening rides and how she hoped to convince Mama to let her join. She didn't say anything about her prediabetes or her harsh words to Mama. "I see," said Miss Garcia. She looked at the eighth grader and asked him to get her some tools. Then Miss Garcia sat next to Marla. "You know, maybe there's another way. Have you thought of looking into a bike co-op? Some have work-to-own programs." "What do you mean?" asked Marla. "Well," said Miss Garcia, as she removed her garden gloves, "if you'd like to get a bike, you might be able to do volunteer work for it. Then you could ride while it's still light out." "Oh," said Marla, "that sounds interesting." A few days later, Marla sat with Tina and Keisha at the library. They were all using the computers. Marla began to look up bike co-ops. Several showed up on the map. The closest was Bike Lab on Figueroa Street. She'd have to take 2 buses. Maybe she could go check it out after school. Marla told her friends about her plan. "Hey, want to go with me this afternoon?" asked Marla. "Yeah," said Keisha. "Oh, no, I have a dentist appointment." "It looks far away," said Tina. "We can't walk there. Did you ask your mom?" "No," said Marla, "not yet." Marla bit her lower lip. She hunched over, holding the nape of her neck with both hands. She didn't think Mama would let her ride 2 buses to a place she didn't know about. She would have to go without telling Mama. She looked up the bus schedules. Marla was sure she could arrive home first, so Mama would never find out. The bus ride to the co-op that afternoon felt much longer than it actually was. Marla was the first to jump out as soon as the bus got to her stop. She felt butterflies in her stomach as she walked to the shop. It didn't have a sign, but she recognized it by the mural of bikes on the side wall. She turned around to take a selfie in front of the mural. Inside the shop, a thin old man in a cap stood behind the counter. Nearby, a couple of young guys tinkered with a bike propped up on a stand. The place was greasy and cluttered. Several bikes hung from wall racks, and Marla wondered if someday one of them would be hers. "Hi," Marla greeted the old man. "I like your mural." "Have a bike problem, young lady?" the man asked in a raspy voice. "Yes," Marla said. No. I'd like to work here, to own a bike. It's my teacher. She said you might have a program. You have one?" "Excuse me?" asked the old man as he raised a bushy eyebrow. Marla hid her giggles with her hand, realizing she hadn't been clear. "Oh, you mean volunteer," he said. He went on to explain that one of the donated bikes could be hers if she volunteered at least 15 hours. She had to be 13 or older, a student, and have parental permission. He then took out a form from under the counter and slid it in front of Marla. Marla thanked him and stared at the bikes hanging from the racks. She itched to get on one. She looked at the form, a parent's signature. She glanced over at the guys covered in tattoos and sighed. She doubted she would ever convince Mama to let her work here. As she was about to leave, she stopped to examine the flyers of past and upcoming bike rides posted by the doorway. The one Miss Garcia had gone to was there. 9 miles, she thought. She'd have to convince Mama. She had to. Marla rushed home from the bus stop to wait for Mama at the bottom of the stairs that led to their apartment. She wanted to talk to her in private. Kevin was inside watching TV. As soon as Marla saw Mama turn the corner, she jumped to her feet and went to greet her. Hola, Mommy, said Marla. Give me, I'll carry your things. Hola, said Mama, squinting. Mommy, something's wrong. Marla started to explain the wonderful opportunity she had found. She could buy her own bike by doing volunteer work. Mama nodded in agreement. Marla told Mama it would take only 15 hours, and then she could ride in daylight with her own bike. A little signature was all she needed. Where's this place? Asked Mama as she grabbed onto the railing to walk up the steps. Not too far, said Marla. Figueroa Street. That's about 40 minutes from here by bus, said Mama, turning to look at Marla. And how did you get this form? It's closer from school, mumbled Marla. I went right after. Nothing happened. She shrugged and tilted her head. Ay, Marla, Marla, Mama sighed. ¿Qué voy a hacer contigo? What am I going to do with you? After much begging, Mama agreed to go on Saturday to the bike lab to check it out. Saturday morning came, and Marla couldn't contain herself. She kept describing to Mama over and over again the bikes she had seen. She told Mama how she knew this was exercise for her. If he were alive, Abuela would be happy. Mama nodded with a smile. Marla kept talking up the opportunity all the way to the co-op. After a long chat with the old man, Mr. Ben, Mama signed the form. Marla would start right then and there and would report to Mama by text on the hour. She had to be home by 4, no excuses. That day Marla did all she was asked. She cleaned the counters, she sorted parts, she learned the names of tools and where to keep them. She buffed 2 recently donated bikes, one black, one purple, until they were shiny. She reported to Mama every hour on the dot. Around 2 o'clock Mr. Ben called her over. You've been good, he said. Tell you what, you can take that one for a ride, he added, pointing to the purple bike. Really? Marla asked. Thank you, thank you. Just around the block, he admonished. With the help of another volunteer, Marla took the bike off the rack and grabbed a nearby helmet. She walked it to the doorway and climbed on it. She stumbled once, twice, but then it seemed like her muscles remembered what to do, and she rode around the block. It felt so good, even if she tired after only 2 loops. Marla returned to volunteer at the bike lab 4 more times. There she learned about bike mechanics and care and attended a free class on riding in traffic. She jumped at every chance that came up to ride with customers as they tried out bikes before purchasing them, and she began to notice she could ride for longer periods. One Saturday, Mr. Ben called her away from her work in the bike co-op. Tell you what, young lady, Mr. Ben said, you've earned that purple bike you like so much. Marla stood on the tips of her toes, holding tightly her hands near her smiling face as she listened to Mr. Ben's every single word. Take it home today, along with the helmet you always wear. You don't have to come back anymore, but you'll always be welcome at the shop. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, exclaimed Marla as she clapped her hands. One last thing before you take off, said Mr. Ben. Go clean up the old announcements from the wall and find room for the upcoming events, please. Sure, Marla said. She grabbed the stack of new flyers and rushed to the wall to clean and spruce it up as best she could. That's when she saw the flyer announcing the perfect ride for her. The Dia de los Muertos bike ride. It would be a 9-mile ride in honor of the Day of the Dead, ending with a fiesta held at the famous Self-Help Graphics and Art Center in Boyle Heights. 9 miles. Marla was instantly hooked. The ride was on Sunday, November 1st, starting at 3 p.m. 4 weeks away. Mama should allow her to ride at that hour. She snapped a picture of the announcement. She could already imagine herself flying by with a fading ring on her neck. That afternoon, before leaving the co-op on her own bike, Marla went over to Mr. Ben and hugged him. Riding in the bike lane most of the way home, she looked at the birds flying above her, as she felt a kinship with them. As soon as she arrived, she called Mama and Kevin from the parking lot of their apartment. Kevin came out first. Wow, he said, nifty bike. Can I ride it? Not now, Marla answered. Whatever, it's a girl's bike anyway, he added, and headed back inside to watch TV. Look at you, exclaimed Mama, coming down the steps to get a closer look. What a great bike you earned yourself. Marla told Mama all about the Dia de los Muertos event and how much she would love to participate. Well, if it's during the day and you ride with someone I know, maybe it would be okay, said Mama. I'd love to go to the self-help graphics fiesta for Day of the Dead. The last time I went, I was younger than you. You mean you would actually let me go? Asked Marla. But then she remembered the condition. She needed to ride with someone Mama knew. She slumped over the handlebars of her bike. Who am I going to ask? You'll find someone, said Mama. The first chance she had, Marla sought out Miss Garcia. Miss Garcia, thank you, Marla cried. I have my own bike. Marla told Miss Garcia she had finally finished her volunteer work at the co-op. She told her about Abuelo. She said her dream was to join the Day of the Dead ride on November 1st. Miss Garcia said she understood and would probably join the ride herself. Marla got all flustered thinking about the possibility of riding alongside her favorite teacher, and after waving goodbye, left to talk to Keisha and Tina. Do you think I can ask her? I don't know, Tina replied as they walked around the school grounds during lunch. Of course you should, exclaimed Keisha. This is her only chance. It's not like her mom is going to let her ride with one of the cool tattooed guys Marla talks about. Said Marla, biting her lower lip. I'm not sure I can ask. What if she thinks it's weird? She's a teacher. On October 23rd, Ms. Garcia did a unit on the Day of the Dead. Marla listened intently, and as she heard Ms. Garcia's closing words, it's not about skull candy or dressing up, but about honoring the dead and remembering we all turn to dust. Marla made up her mind. She would ask her teacher after class. For Abuelo. For herself. Ms. Garcia, said Marla, you know how I really want to go to the Day of the Dead ride? Yes, said Ms. Garcia. Well, Marla hesitated. My mom won't let me go if I don't ride with someone she knows. Marla looked down. She's right, said Ms. Garcia. Yeah, said Marla, her eyes still downcast. I know, and, Marla bit her lower lip. We could ride together, said Ms. Garcia. Marla couldn't believe her luck. She was going to actually do the 9-mile ride, and with her favorite teacher. Sunday, November 1st, the Day of the Dead, had finally arrived. Marla slipped into her comfy black leggings and the black sweatshirt that Keisha and Tina had painted for her, with bright flowers and white skulls. She brushed her hair into a low ponytail that she could wear with her helmet. She filled her water bottle and placed it on its rack on the bike. Miss Garcia was picking her up at 2:40. It was 12:30 now, and Marla was stapling marigolds around the border of a collage of photos of Abuelo that she and Mama had made together. Marla had returned to the bike lab a few more times, and Mr. Ben had helped her to attach a rack to carry her memorial. She took selfies with the finished memorial, and with Mama and Kevin and her by the bike. She couldn't wait to be picked up. Then the phone rang. It was Miss Garcia. Hi, Marla, Miss Garcia said in a serious tone. I need to talk to your mom, please. Sure, said Marla, handing her cell phone to Mama. Marla started to fidget. See, I understand, said Mama. Oh, well, I don't know. Let me think about it. Marla will call you back. Mama told Marla that Miss Garcia had a family emergency and would not be free in time for the ride. She had talked to a friend who could take Miss Garcia's place. Some friend called Emma, Mama said. At first, Marla slumped. She wouldn't be riding with Miss Garcia after all. She looked at every photo in Abuelo's memorial. Accomplishing the ride was more important than anything. Emma? Emma? Marla remembered the woman who had helped her with the melons. We've met Emma, exclaimed Marla. Way back at the Food for Less. How do you know it's the same Emma? Asked Mama. Yeah, I don't, Marla said, hunching over in defeat. She reached for her water bottle and took a long drink. Well, said Mama, if Miss Garcia trusts her to ride with you, and I can talk to Emma before you leave, I guess it's okay. Then Marla felt the urge to do something she should have done weeks before. She hugged Mama tight and kissed her on the cheek. I'm sorry, she whispered. It was mean, what I said to you at the store. It's okay, said Mama, leaning her head against Marla's. I love you. At 2:35, Marla took her decorated bike down the stairs to the parking lot. It turned out that the Emma who came to pick up Marla was the same Emma that they had met at the grocery store. Mama chatted with Emma briefly and gave Marla the thumbs up. Marla blew a kiss to Mama. She knew she would see Mama later at the self-help graphics party. Mama didn't want to miss Marla's first big ride and had told her she would be there waiting. Marla set off on her bike following Emma to the meetup point in front of the Food for Less. There were about 40 people waiting when Marla and Emma arrived. People chatted with one another. Marla pulled out her phone and shot many pictures of the bikers' decorations and outfits. She met a few of Emma's friends before they all took off for the Parque de Mexico, 6 miles away. There, another cycling club would join them for the remainder of the distance. The first couple of miles were hard. Marla worried that she wouldn't be able to keep up with the group's pace down Huntington Drive. But then she noticed that whenever she fell behind, Emma or one of Emma's friends cycled back to encourage Marla. That made her feel better. For the next few miles, Marla was able to ride smoothly. She loved the feeling of riding with a bunch of people, of being part of something bigger than herself. She felt both free and totally embraced. She was in the middle of the pack when they got to the park. There was a blur of bicyclists waiting, maybe 100. Marla was tired and hoped they would rest a bit, but the club leaders stopped only long enough to greet one another and continued on. They needed to get to the Mariachi Plaza in time to join the Day of the Dead procession at 5 o'clock. Marla rode right behind Emma, trying not to lose sight of her. Pedaling up a slight hill, Marla felt too out of breath. Her mouth was dry. She had never biked this distance all at once. How much more to the plaza? She stopped to rest and drink water. When Marla looked up, Emma had blended into the pack. Riders kept swishing by. Marla panicked. She didn't want to be left behind. She rose up to pedal harder and get ahead as the pack was making the turn onto Gallardo Street. When she turned, she hit the curb. She lost her balance and fell off her bike. A cute boy from the other club stopped. "Are you okay?" he asked. Marla felt dizzy. "It's okay, I just scraped my hands," she lied, embarrassed. Soon Marla heard Emma calling. "What happened?" "I'm okay," Marla said, getting back on the bike. She felt weak and shaken after the fall, but she had worked too hard not to accomplish this ride. So she willed away her fear of failing by thinking of Abuelo's steadying hand. They rode into the Mariachi Plaza a little before 5. Hundreds of people were in calacas and calaveras costumes. The skeletons and skulls, mocking and honoring death, packed the square, spilling onto Bailey Street. Marla was scanning the crowd for Mama when she felt someone pinch her side. "Gotcha," said Kevin, his face painted white with large black circles for eyes and black stitches across his mouth. She punched him lightly in his stomach, glad to see him. Keisha and Tina came right behind Kevin, wearing face paint over half of their faces. It was unique. "Oh, I want my face painted just like that," Marla exclaimed, wiping sweat off her face with the small square of terry cloth Mama had given her for good luck. "The best face painters are at the art center," said Tina. "Yeah, but we couldn't wait," added Keisha. Soon Mama appeared, walking alongside Miss Garcia, who waved to Emma. "Mama, Mama, I did it," Marla called. "Felicidades," Mama exclaimed as she got closer. "I knew you would." "You should be proud of yourself," said Miss Garcia. "I'm glad I was able to take care of things in time to see you at the finish line." "Thank you," Marla said. She felt herself blush a little and turned to join Keisha and Tina, who had bumped into someone from school. As she left, Marla overheard Mama thanking Emma for riding with her. She also heard Miss Garcia tell Mama what a great daughter she had. Marla felt warm inside. All her favorite people had come to see her finish her first big ride. In the short procession afterwards, Marla walked her bike alongside Mama, Kevin, Keisha, and Tina. They arrived at the self-help graphics and art event to find people in Aztec costumes and huge papier-mâché masks. There were calaveras everywhere, painted on people's faces and clothing, carved into jewelry and candy. In the center's gallery, the altars to departed loved ones were lit by candlelight and covered in brilliant orange marigolds. Outside, people danced to live music. Tina and Keisha found a face painting booth for Marla, and she had her face painted by a true artist. He painted one half white, her eye with black eyeshadow at the center of a big red heart outlined with sparkling jewels. Her mouth became a black wavy line stitched across and curling at the cheek. The other half of her face was made to look like Frida Kahlo's. He finished by crowning her head with red paper flowers. "I look beautiful," Marla exclaimed when she looked at herself in the camera of her phone. Then she took a group selfie with Mama and Kevin and Keisha and Tina, all surrounding Abuelo's collage. On Monday, Marla got up extra early to wash off any leftover makeup from the night before. And as she dried herself, Marla tilted her head in front of the bathroom mirror and looked at her clean, glowing face. That's when she noticed it. The ring around her neck was gone. Marla smiled wide, proud and strong.